Hi, I'm Wood. Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. This is a series where we're comparing two accounts, both started at the same time, on the same day, played the same way by a lovable knucklehead. That's me. At least that's what I've been told. With one major difference. One account is free to play, the other one has a monthly spending budget. It's day 11, let's check our progress. Okay, so just a short video today because frankly, we haven't made a ton of progress on either account. We have made some progress in acquiring some good gear. I've been spending a lot of time on Dragon because it's 2x speed, and each account got a copy of the rare Torix. He's a lizardman. He may be interesting. I haven't actually looked at his kit because my goal here was to fuse 4 of the Torix on both accounts just so that I can get one of those epics. And hopefully we'll be able to do that within the 2 weeks. I think that's a pretty achievable goal. And then maybe we'll also be able to keep one of the rares. Let's check our daily new player rewards and our logins. In the Adelan Chase, we get a gauntlet today. Our daily login gets us 4 pieces of 4-star regen gear. Hopefully it's good. You never know. Same as in the rest of the series, the free-to-play account will have the green border around it, and then when I switch to the budget account, no green border. We'll check the market on the free-to-play, pick up our mystery shards, and really not too much progress other than, like I said, gear. We've picked up some speed gear. Haven't really found the greatest speed gear yet. We're still only able to farm stage 9 of Dragon on both of the accounts. I thought it'd be useful to get one of the copies of the Void rare, and hopefully this is a really good event to do that in. Especially early game, you just need speed. I mean, it's so important early game, and this is all the speed gear I've gotten. Really none of the speed stats are very good on it, but two pieces of speed is a stat in and of itself, really. So I'm not throwing all the speed gear away that doesn't have speed on it yet. I'm not to that point of my account. Where a lot of people the further you get in the game, the more likely you are to throw away a piece of speed gear that doesn't have a speed stat on it. But right now, where we're this early, sometimes I'm keeping of it if they have other useful stats, because just having the speed set gives you some speed. And in our Adelan Chase, we get a clan boss key, which may or may not come in handy here. Still working on easy and normal clan boss. I've been able to top chest both easy and normal. I don't have as much poison as I would like on the free-to-play account. On the budget account, I've got pretty adequate amount of poison, and that's really helping. And so we've kind of increased the gap there, but that's not because of the spending yet. That's just because the way champions went and the way gear rolls went, and some of the training might have been helpful. I've been able to train a little bit more on the budget account than on the free-to-play. And I've also been able to progress a little bit further in campaign on the budget account than on the free-to-play. But that's the major differences. Also in the Classic Arena Takedown Tournament, I was able to get another copy of the Void rare for the fusion, and so that's been pretty helpful too. I was able to just clear all of the rewards in that and in pretty much one go on Classic Arena. You hope that somebody will have forgotten about their defense or put in a single man defense. That's the most helpful thing that you can do to help other players. You can only degrade so far in Arena as you go, and so if you're really active, having a single man defense doesn't really hurt you, and it only helps other players. So it's a good idea to do it. I'll go in here to a Classic Arena fight. Now, I don't have traditionally what would be considered a very good team, because I don't have a speed booster and I don't have a speed or a lead yet. And I will have that. Either the game will give it to me sooner, or I'll get one with Haikatun, because she's the 30-day login champion. So actually, let's go back and look. I'll show you that here. On your daily login rewards, you get a high Katoon on day 30. And if you haven't pulled a better speed booster before that, she can be very, very good. And she can be a good lead in your teams. You don't have to 6-star her, although I have before. But she has a decreased speed on her A1, which lands at an okay rate. And she also has a turn meter fill of 15% and then a 30% increased speed on all of her allies for 2 turns. So not only is she giving you some turn meter fill, it's not as good as Arbiter, but obviously Arbiter, you have to achieve something to get her. She can be very useful early game if you get her before you get your Arbiter. And I haven't heard of anyone getting their Arbiter within 30 days. So she can be crucial to helping your teams to be successful in the arena. Since I don't have a speed booster yet, I'm using Adeline's accuracy aura in my lead because I want Taragi to be able to land his stuff, and I want her to be able to land her stuff also. I also want War Maiden to be able to land her decreased defense. I just got, and this is going to be a bad showing, because I just got my Ethel another chess piece that gave her some more speed, and so her speed went ahead of War Maiden's, and that is not ideal. But so you'll see in this fight, I think my Ethel's the fastest on the team. Ideally you want your debuffer to go first, put the decreased defense on, and then for your nuker to nuke. And so it's not really a good showing for me right here because I'm not speed tuned and my turn order isn't good. And so that's something you want to really watch out for. And I did the best I could with the gear that I had. I didn't want to take anything off of Ethel to make her a little bit slower, but it's probably a good idea, and I probably will do that. And then as soon as I can get my War Maiden faster, I will speed my Ethel back up. You want your best gear on your starter champion, but you also want your turn orders to be correct. And you definitely want the decreased defense debuff on the enemy before your nuker does their main attack. A lot of times that's, just makes the fight a lot faster and solves a lot of problems for you. So in Clan Boss, we are not one keying normal, but we are doing enough damage that the top chest in normal is achievable by both accounts. And then we can one key easy on both accounts in Clan Boss. In Demon Lord Clan Boss. I always forget to say that. It used to be that we only had Demon Lord Clan Boss. We didn't have anything else, and so it's hard to remember sometimes to call it Demon Lord Clan Boss, and then we also have Hydra Clan Boss. I'm gonna I'm gonna get into this fight a little bit more. So you can see we can do some damage. The Outlaw Monk has actually been pretty good as far as damage goes. He's not the highest damage dealer on the team, but his poisons are doing enough damage and he's landing them often enough, and I don't even have him all the way booked yet. So he's been a pretty adequate poisoner. But if you were watching yesterday's video, you'll know that I did pull a Fenshi, and I think my Fenshi, when I get him built, will be my replacement for for Outlaw Monk after I use him as a 5-star chicken. He's almost ready to be turned into a 5-star chicken here, and so that'll be nice. Also, you can see that War Maiden is ready to go to 5-star. Since I don't have a better debuffer than War Maiden right now, I will stick with her. So this fight just keeps going, and kind of, it's not a speed tune team. Taragi isn't all the way booked yet, so he's not protecting the team as much as I would like, and he's not landing his poisons as often as I would like. But it's a pretty, I don't know, for an early game team, it's not terrible. And I know it could be better, but I'm playing the same style on both accounts, and so I think that's important to keep some consistency. I have had more luck on shard pulls on the free-to-play, and that may narrow the gap a little bit. And I think that'll be an interesting thing to see if spending $600 in a year on an account is the same as luck. That would leave a bad taste in most people's mouth. I would expect you to have more of a gap between a free-to-play account and somebody who's spending, $50 a month. And so it'll be interesting to see what the differences are. But like I've mentioned many times, I have seen the difference in just the ability to build champions. It's 20% higher. It's 20% greater. So that's for a normal clan boss, it's nothing to write home about, but it almost gives us. Yeah, we need to do 3.64. So we just need about 500,000 more damage, and we'll have the top chest on normal. And so I'll do another key on normal, and then later on tonight I'll do another key on easy, and that will one key. So getting a couple of chests. If we were in a better clan that was putting down clan boss, then that would be nice to get 2 chests for each. But we're not really ready for that. We're not ready to be in a better clan yet. So hopefully soon we'll be able to move into a better clan. But I want to make sure that it's a clan that will accept both of the accounts. I'm excited to just keep progressing on both accounts and trying to get to a point where we can actually be helpful to another clan. So you can see in the free-to-play account here, we still don't have a Thel up to level 60 yet. When you run a lot of Dragon, it doesn't give you a lot of experience. And that's the same on the budget account also. The raid card doesn't give you more experience for running dungeons. It only gives you more experience for running campaign and more silver also. But you can see Athel isn't quite to level 60 yet, but we do have Stagnite up to 40, Padma and Taragi. I did start building a monk on this account, but I haven't put him in any teams yet. And you can see we've got it's Teryx. Teryx the Restless. He looks like a dinosaur. Very cool. Not the highest level of design of champions that I've seen. This one's a little more elementary than a lot of them that the game has come out with, but still looks like a dinosaur. Kind of cool. I wanted to look into his kit because I hadn't really looked at it. I wasn't planning on keeping any copies of him on my main account, and so it's funny I didn't even think to look for this account, but I think we'll try and hopefully grab 5 of them during the 2 weeks that the events are going on, so that we can fuse one of the epics and then keep one of these rares. A1 attacks one enemy, places a 25% increase accuracy buff on this champion for 2 turns. Damage is based on defense. So that's nice that he's defense based. A2 attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn, and that books up to 75%. Wow. With Fearsome Presence, with a Fearsome Presence Mastery, you can get that up to, I think it's 80%, isn't it? 5% for a Fearsome Presence. Yeah, Fearsome Presence takes it up by 5%, and that's any of the control abilities. With any of the other debuffs, you can use Master Hexer over here on the support tree, but it doesn't work on Provoke. So let's see if he'd be good for that. 80% chance would be good for Provoke for AoE, especially for a rare. That's not a very common ability for a rare. And on his A3, he places a 15% strengthen buff on all allies for 2 turns, also places a counterattack buff on this champion for 2 turns. And that books down to a 3-turn cooldown. He's got a pretty good kit for a rare. Yeah, he might be useful on this account, or on both of the experiment accounts. I started calling it the experiment. I like that better. It sounds like it's for science, which everything's for science if it's an experiment, right? We also pulled a Spirit Host on both accounts. She does have a speed aura. Spirit Host is one that's farmable. You get her in quite a few, in I think every account I've ever played, you just pull a Spirit Host by farming the Durham Forest. So she can be good. She's got to increase speed in all battles by 10%. She also has a full team cleanse, but it's on a 5-turn cooldown when it's booked. So it's not as good as Gator or Reliquary Tender for a cleanse. But she does place the block debuffs for 1 turn on your team after she does that cleanse. It's only useful for like if you just need 1 cleanse on your team. If it's going to be a longer fight than that, you need somebody else to help you there. But she also has an increased attack, not a turn meter booster, but she does do an increased attack, and then she heals based on damage inflicted, and I've never seen that to be a very significant heal because she just doesn't do a lot of damage. Although if it was a boss fight and you had War Master mastery on her, that could turn into a fairly decent heal. War Master does damage. It's a top mastery that does damage based on the max HP of the enemy. So it could be helpful there. But you're probably not going to build a Spirit Host and have her in a team where that's going to be something that you're going to use. You're going to have other better options. So sometimes really early game you use a Spirit Host as your speed lead. It's a 10%, and then you can use her for her cleanse and block debuffs, and that can be useful in arena a little bit if you don't have better options. I feel like we do already have better options, so I probably won't be building a Spirit Host for that. But she is, if you noticed, she's also part of the fusion for Relic Keeper. So if you go in here on the fusions and go in the Relic Keeper fusion, she's one of the 4 that you can use to fuse Justiciar, and then Justiciar and then the rest of these farmable rares can be fused into Relic Keeper. And so that's helpful for that because you have to do Relic Keeper when you're doing your Arbiter missions. So one of the missions asks you to fuse Justiciar, and then the other mission asks you to fuse Relic Keeper, and that's a requirement for doing your Arbiter missions, and Arbiter's definitely worth it. That's basically all I had for today. We're just going to keep going doing Dragon. I'm going to try the Dragon tournament. At the time of this recording, Dragon tournament finishes in a few hours from now. I think it's like 10 hours from now or so. Yeah, 12 hours. I've got 12 hours to finish the Dragon tournament. Both accounts and they're basically kind of in the same place. I'd like to pick up the gems although the gems really aren't worth it if you have to spend gems for energy to get gems, but the epic book on both accounts is probably worth going after. So I'm gonna try and finish the Dragon tournament before I start working on other things, and I know for a lot of people that's going to sound really counterproductive. It's just what I decided to do because of the speed, the 2 times on speed. I was really hoping to get some more 5-star speed pieces, and unfortunately on level 9 of Dragon you don't get a lot of 5-star. You do have a chance of getting it, and that's kind of what I was rolling the dice on, was hopefully getting a chance on some 5-star speed gear that had speed as a substat, or boots that had speed as a main stat. But I keep doing Classic Arena. I think it's really important to try and gain those medals. The medals become really important for your Arbiter missions also, increasing the level of these Great Hall bonuses. The accuracy is really big, and you want to focus on accuracy when you're early game in the Great Hall. And so you see I've built up quite a few silver medals here that I can use. So I keep working on those things, trying just to keep making progress in many areas of the game, but also I'm gonna have to start upgrading champions pretty soon and upgrading gear, and hopefully spending this time in Dragon will have been helpful for that. I'm on the missions. I'm right at 118 on both accounts. I need to get 3 rank 5 champions on both accounts to solve this mission, and then you keep moving on. Would have been nice to have that done before I started doing the Dragon here, but we keep going, keep doing the missions. 118 out of 286 at this point at day 11. That's I don't think that's too bad. I don't think we're too far behind schedule. I'm not trying to break any records, but I also want to keep pushing and keep trying to get that as soon as I possibly can. So, leave a comment or something if you have any questions. If you're running into a problem in the game that you're having trouble solving or don't know how to solve it, or if you're struggling with which champion to build next, I just recorded a video that'll probably come out tomorrow from the time this one comes out, that I talk a little bit about mostly philosophy, about how you look at who to 6-star next. That's one of the most common questions that you can have in the game, and frankly it's something that I still wonder about sometimes, but I have a process that I go through that I think is pretty helpful. It's more of a philosophical process. It's not, you know, there's nothing mathematical about it or anything, but I think hopefully it'll be helpful to some people, and if you have any questions and you want to leave a comment or something, if I don't get to it, I'm sure somebody will be helpful in the comments. People that play this game are usually really, really helpful. In fact, one of the things that I remember that I enjoyed most was seeing a competition that Deadwood Jedi was hosting, and I was watching competitors in that, and while they were watching each other compete in certain things in the game, you would see their competitors trying to help them and say, hey, wait, you should use this ability instead. That'll help you with this. And I found that to be really endearing, because, you know, you're trying to beat somebody at the same time, but you also want to see people succeed. And that's one of my favorite things about this game, is a lot of the people that play this game want to just help others succeed. And that's why I'm doing this series, is to try and show what spending gets you in the game, where I haven't really seen an experiment like that before. And that's what a lot of the people that make videos about the game, I think that's why this game has so many people that create content for it, is because they genuinely a lot of times enjoy helping other people play the game and do better at it. And if you want to be better, there's resources out there for you. So anyway, I hope you're having a good weekend if you're watching this when it comes out. And I'm Wood. I appreciate you.